seconds.
Is this where the damn drumming and the music kicks in?
Yeah. Don't skip this part. This is when the good stuff happens. This is the beginning of the show. This is On the Pipe Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Tyler Shepherdson. And today is March. No, it's not. Today is April the 4th, 2022. I'm your host, as always, Tyler Shepherdson. And tonight is another episode of OTP's Weekend Review with Big Tom. Big Tom's going to be joining us for this one. If you're following us on Instagram at On The Pipe Podcast, then you notice that we've been putting up polls throughout the day. We put up a questions thing, so we took your questions, comparing and debating between two topics. I took some of my favorite ones out and some of the most occurring ones out, and I put them out there for you all to vote on them. After 4,000 votes, we have all of that data, and Big Tom and I are going to give our viewpoint and our opinion on each one of those things. So I actually already finished that show with Tom, so you're going to be listening to it here in just a few moments. So it is a really fun show. We ended up going a lot more in depth than I thought, so this is a little bit of a longer show, but that just means you got more stuff to occupy your time as you're going down the road listening to OTP. I got a couple really cool things that I want to get into, but first, I do want to let everybody know, last week we alluded to some very big news that was coming on the Pipe Podcast. And I am here to finally break the news, because now I'm finally able to break the news. We kind of alluded to it a little bit in the last episode, but I have decided to bet on myself. I've decided to go after what I like doing and what you guys like listening to, so far as I can tell. So last week was really from the heart when I said thank you everyone who has supported this show from the beginning, from the middle, from the end. Whenever you've been listening to this show, thank you so much. I could not be any more grateful for you. I've been telling everyone that I've kind of half-assed this show. I think that would be taking it a step up. I think I more realistically 3/8 asked this show, and it's gotten to this point that it has now. It's grown into a substantial following, both on social media and the people that are downloading and listening to the podcast, and I think it's really kind of made a mark, and I think people have come to expect them each week, and I think a lot of people are listening to them, and it's really cool. It's really great to see all the numbers hit a couple very important milestones to me. This is actually my 100th episode, believe it or not. There's been several that have been deleted. There's been several that have been recorded live on Instagram or live on YouTube, live on Facebook. There's been a lot of other shows. I think I'm pretty well past 100 by a long shot, but actual recorded catalog shows through my podcasting hosting network, this is show 100 going into the banks. And what better show than show 100 to announce the biggest news of the podcast yet, some of the biggest news, I want to say, of my life. This could be life-changing. So a lot of times when you've heard me do these shows, I started planning 5 minutes before I hit record. A lot of times I ask people around lunchtime, hey, you want to be on the show tonight? Cool. I get off work maybe 4 o'clock, maybe 7:30. I don't know. I'll let you know. And then I get off work, and then, hey, are you busy now? Okay, you're not busy now. Are you busy later? Trying to make it happen. And my job was a big portion, obviously, of my life. It's a big portion of everyone's life, but it was limiting me and what I could do and what I could commit to this podcast. In fact, I've been a safety guy, if not when the podcast started, then shortly thereafter the podcast started. So for those that don't know, I was the safety director for a telecom company. and we worked a lot in construction and a lot of like pretty high profile things. And obviously it took a lot of my attention away from what I was doing here, and I kind of do this in my free time. And I have made the decision to, just as I said, bet on myself. Now, right now is very scary. There's a giant black cloud over my head, and I'm kind of freaking out. I'm super nervous. But I think the first place that I wanted to get it out was right here to the people that listen to this thing. Without you all, this would not be possible. I can go ahead and tell you that. And I think we've built a very solid base, and I can't say thank you enough to everyone that listens to the show. That being said, it has provided me this opportunity to take a leap of faith and go from 3/8 assing it to putting everything that I have into the show. So expect a lot of changes in the show coming up. First thing that we're doing, I know I've been talking about it for what has probably been months to years, is going video. So next week we will be on video. We will be streaming exclusively live on YouTube. So everything's going to be going live straight to YouTube. I got to pick a time. I haven't picked a time yet. Once I pick a time, I'll put it out on my socials and let you all know. But then you will be able to expect the show to happen live at that time every single week, where it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to organize guests and get them on the show as well, because they're going to be FaceTiming in, so we'll be able to see them as well. So we're getting with the times. We're getting with the 21st century. We'll be switching things to video, and we will be broadcasting live on YouTube. Nothing will change, however you're listening to this right now. So wherever you're listening to this right now at, make sure you subscribe to that, because I'm still going to be putting the audio-only versions out to everywhere that you listen to it now. The only thing that's going to change is YouTube. You can still go back and watch the YouTube live after the fact. It saves as a regular YouTube video, so it'll always be there for you to go back and watch. Or you can watch it live at a time that is to be determined. Now, that being said, this stuff is scary, man. It's really scary. Wherever you are listening, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, anywhere you can listen to a podcast, you can find On the Pipe Podcast, and you will forever be able to find On the Pipe Podcast. So that will not change. Like I mentioned, we will just be going with video. So you can listen directly from YouTube, or if you hear a conversation and, I don't know, maybe things get awkward or maybe something funny was said, and you want to see the reactions, you'll be able to go back on YouTube and watch that segment and watch that part of it. So I'm super excited about that. The other thing is the generation of content. Now my weekdays are free. So my weekdays are going to be spent organizing the show, getting things together for the show, getting content for the show. And one of the big things, I've already talked to a group of writers I'll be meeting up with this week. Hopefully we're going to film some stuff to be able to put some more stuff out there. More in-depth interviews, more in-depth training regimens, more in-depth with mechanics, more in-depth with training practices. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming your way, and it's really exciting to me to finally risk it. I mean, I've been doing this for a while. There's a few people that are also doing it and kind of taking the lead. A lot of them will admit that they've got the lead or the idea from here, and a lot of them will swear up and down that they didn't, and then turn around and talk about me on their show. And I mean, it is what it is. It's cool to see the growth of it. Everyone, if this is something that you've been thinking about, I encourage you to start it up and do it. If you want to go take pictures, go take pictures. The media world needs to grow. The media world is growing right now, and I think it's pretty cool. But with that being said, starting this thing, it was kind of a leap in faith to begin with, because there was nothing else like it. There was nothing here to chase after. There was nothing here to compare it to. And over the past almost 5 years now, it's kind of developed into what it is. And I think OTP is always going to be that leading source of off-road news and information. And that is my plan. But now it's time to kick in high drive and really go after it and really be thorough, be in-depth, find out all the information, and actually do the shows when the shows are supposed to be there. There are no more work excuses. There are no early mornings. There are no more late nights. We're going to be organized. We're going to get this thing rolling, and I'll tell you what. I'm excited. I'm stoked, especially with this being the 100th episode that we're publishing, to be able to announce all of this stuff. So I can't thank you enough for listening to this. If you have made it this far and you stuck around with me, I am forever grateful for you. Everyone that has bought a shirt, everyone that has bought a hoodie, everybody that has wanted stickers, everybody that has reached out. You guys mean the absolute world to me, and without you all, this could not be possible. So right here is where we see the change. This is the transition right here. OTP has been built up into a solid base, and now it is at that point to go to the next level. My last thing that I will say on this, because I have written in big bold letters at the top of this thing, nobody cares. I've actually been writing that in a lot of stuff that I've been doing here lately, is nobody cares. I don't want to get too self-centered and talk about this, but I felt like it was important to let you all know that there's been a lot of empty promises on here. There's been a lot of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then a lot of that not being upheld, and the majority of that is other obligations. Well, now, this is my livelihood. This is what I'm going after. This is my obligation to you and to the riders of this sport, is to cover it. Now that we got a solid base built up and there's people listening to the show, one thing that I hear a lot of feedback about is more amateur riders. Hear about amateur riders. That is one thing that I plan to change. I want to get more amateur riders on the show. Just to briefly explain all of that, as I'm trying to grow this thing, it was necessary to talk about the pros, have the pros on. A lot of them are my buddies, so it's been cool to get them on and have them on to get them exposure. But then it was also working off of their following to get the show out there as well. Now that we've built this base, now that we have this many people listening, now that we have this many people following along, the cool thing is we can dive into amateur riders, youth riders, whoever we want to get to, because a lot of these amateur riders have some of the most interesting stories that you would never believe. So it's my turn, and this is a very small portion of this, but it's my turn to give back, and that's in the smallest sense. To where now I have the following that I can promote these amateurs and promote these youth riders and get them some following, get them some acknowledgement. And that part of it is very exciting to me. I think I've said on here several times before, like, I want to change the way that things are done. I want to bring more eyeballs to the sport. I want to bring a bigger spotlight to the sport. And ultimately, I want to bring more money to the sport. And the more people, the more money, the more parts being bought, the more bikes being bought, the more entry fees being paid, the more money that gets brought into this sport. And I think everyone that is competing in the sport at the highest level is risking life and limb, and they deserve much more than what they are getting. And so that's the goal here, to grow it, to build this thing up, to build this sport up, to help everyone. Rising tide raises all ships. So right now, OTP is in the back pumping water and trying to get all the tides up. So changing the direction of the moon, everything else. We're gonna help this tide rise. And right now, like I said, it's a big black cloud over my head, and a little bit scared, a little bit nervous, but also very, very, very excited. I feel like a lot of weight is off my shoulders, and now I can focus on this. And like I said, I'm staring right at it. Nobody cares. So I'll move past that point. The last thing I will say in regards to this, which is what I started to say before that whole rant, I've never used this platform to promote myself. If I have, I would like you to remind me of it, because I don't think that I have. I don't think I've tried to use this for any personal gain at all. But now that this is becoming my livelihood, now that this is what I'm going to be depending on to supplement or basically turn, this has supplemented my regular income. This is going to be my regular income. So got to find a way to make that work. That being said, I've never really promoted myself, but if you follow my page, everything on my Instagram page, at On The Pipe Podcast, on our Facebook page, all of that, everything is filmed by me, unless otherwise stated, but the majority of it filmed by me or shot by me. If you look at social media stats, the real stats, and the views and the follows that we get from that, I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty surreal to me. I can't believe that it is what it is, but what I'm getting at is basically I got to find a way to make this work. And it's going to take a while to build this thing up even now, but I am committed to it full time. So if there's any photo work, any video work, anything like that, I think I have a pretty good allotment of it that you can check out and see if it tickles your fancy or what you were looking for. But whether it's a rider or a business, or you want to get some training footage, or you just want a cool YouTube edit, I'm at most of the races if you want an edit or some photos at the races. Or like I said, I know a lot of team folks listen to this. If it's something that could help benefit your team, I would love to get involved. So hit me up for photo stuff, video stuff, and or if you want to talk about the podcast and how you can get your name, your business, your whatever you're promoting on the podcast, I'd be more than happy to talk with everyone and anyone and see what we can do, because we're trying to rise these tides, okay? So grab your boat, get in the water, and we're going to be rising up here soon. So just want to get that little nugget out of the way. Thank you so much for listening to me ramble on about that. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really sincerely looking forward to it. So I hope you guys continue to listen to the show. I hope you continue to support the show. It means the world to me. If I quit my job to go start a podcast, I would feel like an idiot. But I feel like with the following that we have, and all of you all that listen, it makes it an easy decision, because I'm happy to be doing this, and I'm happy to show someone videos of them and they light up, or pictures of them and they light up. So I'm excited. I think this is a cool opportunity, and I would say 80% of the people listening to this probably think I'm an absolute fool for even considering any of this and quitting a good job to focus on something that right now is nothing. So I understand that. I've had that thought myself, but you never know until you try. So I turned 30 years old in November. That makes me an old man. And so we're going to try it. We're going to push through the rest of this season. And then once that time comes, we'll reevaluate from there and see where we're standing. But, can't wait to see everybody at the races. I'll have a box of T-shirts with me at all times. So if you want an OTP T-shirt, let me know. We will certainly get you dialed in. And I hope that you come join me Mondays and Tuesdays. Maybe be adding some shows here and then. We got some extra time to invest to it. But, I'll go ahead and get done with that. I want to let you know this show is being brought to you by Wide Open Wi-Fi. This entire show that you're listening to, this show, OTP Tuesday, tomorrow, it is brought to you by Wide Open Wi-Fi. Now, you might have seen the WOW signs. That's Wide Open Wi-Fi. At Big Buck. You saw them. They were set up at the first Big Buck. They're set up at this last Big Buck. They had a Sprinter van set up at the front there next to the Pro Row and Vendor Row and all that. And then you'll see the little towers with generators hooked up to them throughout the parking area. That is Wide Open Wi-Fi. What is Wide Open Wi-Fi? Wide Open Wi-Fi is your solution to having zero signal at all of these races. So you get to the races, you got business going on, you got people back home, you want to post cool videos that you're getting, but you look at your phone and you have absolutely no signal, and what little signal you did have is being robbed by the 8 million people around you that are also trying to get their signal. Wide Open Wi-Fi has came up with the solution for that, and they will be at Camp Coker as well. So they rolled it out for free at Big Buck. Worked really well. Rolled it out this past weekend at Big Buck. I think there was a little bit of confusion on the prices. And so, this weekend, the price for Wide Open Wi-Fi is much lower than what you have seen in the past. It goes as follows. To have Wi-Fi in all of the parking areas, so pretty much wherever you're camped at, you should have access to Wide Open Wi-Fi. If you go to wideopenwifi.com, you can actually see a map of the Wi-Fi coverage area at the Camp Coker Bullet GNCC. They will be set up there all weekend this weekend. $19.99, $20 per device for 1 day, or $36 per device for 2 days. So if you want to have Wi-Fi all day Saturday, all day Sunday, you can pay by yourself $36, have it on your phone or whatever you choose to have it on. Or you can pay $51 per device for the full event. So that'll get you covered all 3 days at Wide Open Wi-Fi. But That is down a lot. So $20 to have free Wi-Fi all weekend. So in a place where you don't have any signal, you can't watch your TikToks, you can't watch your Instagram reels, you can't get on Facebook, you probably can't even fire up the Tinder machine. And then what are you going to do? You know what I mean? You're out there in the middle of nowhere, can't even get on the Tinder machine. What's going on? You can't send a text, can't peruse the internet, you can't download the latest episode of On the Pipe podcast. It's a problem. So for just $20, your problem can be solved if you want Wi-Fi for one day. Now, when you look at these prices, and once again, these are all on wideopenwifi.com, you can look down there. There's a way to save. And this was the main reason I wanted to get on here and speak with you all about this, because if you post it, you might not read it, you might not get it. So we're going to talk to you. Listen, let old bargain hunting T-Shep tell you. Those are the prices. You can save 25% if you buy 4 devices for the full event. So now we're not talking about 1 day or 2 days. We're talking about the full event. So if you buy 4 passes, you will save 25%. That means you pay $153 for 4 devices. Excuse me. And that will save you 25%. That $153 divided by 3 comes out to be $38 and some change. Look right below that. You can save 30% if you buy on 5 devices. So you can save even more than that, to where it's $178. Divide that by 5 people. That's $35 and some change per person. Now, the reason I bring that up, that doesn't matter. You don't have to bring your laptop, your iPad, your iPhone, and what else? Your car, whatever. You don't have to put Wi-Fi on all 4 of those things. Obviously, you wouldn't do that. So, instead of paying for yourself, find your buddies that are going to the races. Say, hey, there's one of me, there's 4 of you. Let's buy this 5-way pass, and we all get it for $35. So now, instead of $51 for the full event, you can split it with 4 of your buddies. Now, all 5 of you have unlimited Wi-Fi on your phones for the weekend, and you pay $35. So, pretty good deal to be able to have it. And listen, this stuff is so strong. Racer TV actually broadcast with it at the last race. So, and you can see how clear that broadcast went. So, this will cover pretty much all the parking area. Once again, log on to wideopenwifi.com. You can see the map, see exactly where it covers. It covers all the fun spots. It covers all the ponds. It covers where the bridge is. It covers where next to the ponds. It covers the swimming area. So you can log on there and see that. But yeah, grab a buddy. Grab a couple buddies. Switch it up. Maybe you guys do want Wi-Fi on your iPad so you can watch Supercross or whatever you want to do. Then team up with a buddy and split. I get 2 devices, you get 2 devices. Whatever you want to do, bundle it up. I literally asked if I could promote that part of it, and they said, we lose money. And I said, but people get Wi-Fi. And that's the point that we're at. Do you want Wi-Fi? Find a couple buddies, split it, and pay even less. $35, unlimited Wi-Fi throughout the weekend. You just split it up with your buddies. I think it's a pretty good deal. So, try it out. You'll be excited with how well it works. You can go to wideopenwifi.com, and the good thing is you can even buy it right now. You can buy it in preparation for the weekend, so you don't have to stand there and wait in line and get your code and go back and forth. Go to wideopenwifi.com. Everything is on the front page. Scroll down, select how many numbers of days that you want, select how many passes that you want, bundle and save, find some buddies, apply online. You can go ahead and check out and get your code, put it in, and that way when you step onto the site this weekend at the Camp Coker GNCC, it'll already be working. You're already set up. You're already dialed. You don't have to go talk to anybody. You don't have to go stand in line. You just send Snapchats of your happy faces to all of your other friends that can't even receive it because they're at the race and they didn't buy wide open Wi-Fi. So, there you have it. Tonight's show, tomorrow's show, brought to you by Wide Open Wi-Fi. Check them out, wideopenwifi.com. As always, we are brought to you by Beta Motorcycles. Beta Motorcycles is the official manufacturer of On the Pipe podcast. Beta motorcycles have been family-owned and operated since 1905. They manufacture the finest enduro, trials, and dual-sport motorcycles that are known for their premium quality and rideability. Beta motorcycles are the best-looking bikes on the market and back it up with their superior performance. Head over to betausa.com for more information on their available models or to find a dealer near you to get yours today. So, I actually got to ride. Last Wednesday, I rode. I was a little bit timid. This weekend at the Full Gas Sprint Enduro, I got to ride. Like, I'm talking about, I was feeling so comfortable on that bike, I started pushing it. Once I found out that it hurts more to walk than it does to ride my dirt bike, buddy, it's over. Game over. I'm riding tomorrow. You want to know why? Because I got free time. You want to know why? Because I do a podcast for a living. That's weird to say. But, yeah, I'm going to ride tomorrow. I might even ride Wednesday. I might ride Thursday. I might ride every day because this bike is sick. My leg is finally healing up. And the rideability thing, I know I said it before. I'm being 100% serious. You got to ride one of these things. You say, what's rideability? Until you ride it, and then you understand. Like, it's hard to feel comfortable on a stock bike. This might be one of the only stock bikes I've felt comfortable enough to, like, try to push it on with a broken leg, not even caring. So, I'm super stoked on it. I can't wait to ride. That's all I've been thinking about. I just want to go ride it. Washed it up today. Cleaned the air filter. Whew, buddy, we're dialed. Also, big shout out to our buddies over at Armor Graphics. Check them out, armorgraphics.com or at Armor Graphics on the socials. Best graphics around. They got some cool stuff. They do some creative stuff. And you can save 20% off of your Armor Graphics using OTP20 at checkout. So, go check them out. Armored Graphics for your graphic needs. And 20%, man, that's a lot. You can save that off of your Armor Graphics using promo code OTP20 at armoredgraphics.com. With that being said, man, thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for listening to this. It means the world to me, and I can't say it enough, but I have said it enough. So now it is time to get into the main event of the evening, the meat and potatoes of what you came here to listen for. It is time for OTP's Weekend Review with Big Tom. Tom, how's it going, man?
It's going good for a Monday. I'm sitting here looking to apply for a safety position at a telecom company. Do you know any available?
Damn, we're going straight into it. Safety guy, telecom. Hey, I'll send you a guy's contact. I think I know somebody that needs a safety guy.
Oh man, how's your Monday?
Relieving. I guess would be the. But then, so get this. All of this stuff that I just talked about and all the stuff that's going into the show, I was still unprepared for this show on my first attempt at doing it. So, hey, only ways up.
Nothing surprises me. That does not one bit at all surprise.
Hey, this is where we learn. This is where we grow.
Making it happen. That's all that matters.
Yep, that's the plan. But so you raced the Full Gas Sprint Enduro this past weekend. You were out there. We're gonna talk about that here in a second. Want to go through the results real quick. Taking the overall win on the day, it was Tyler Medaglia. From my understanding, it is his last race. I think he was on his way back to Canada and raced out of a U-Haul. He grabs the win once again, but I did hear rumors that he might try to make them since there's all that championship money on the line. Second place in the XC1 class, Evan Smith on that beta, letting it sing on the two-stroke. And rounding things out, it was Brewer Colley. In the XC2 class, it was Ben Nelko that ended up getting second place overall. So he clean swept the XC2 class and ended up getting second place overall on the day from the XC2 class. I didn't know that. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Why does Full Gas not do an overall podium?
You know what? That's a good question. You should have asked me that before we started recording. No, I'm just kidding. No, that was a good. So in the morning, that's what we would typically do, or with like the youth and stuff. Is there's an overall and an XC1. A lot of times it works out to where the overall podium usually is the premier class one, but I mean, dude, Ben Nelko's been on a damn roll here lately.
I wish he'd put them gold wheels back on his bike that he had at Sumter.
Yeah, what was up with that? It was one and done.
I don't know, but I saw him at Sumter and was like, damn, that looks good. He's got the old Wile E. Coyote. I think that's what that is in the graphics from the old Honda days. And
No, it's Woody the Woodpecker.
Woody Woodpecker.
Yeah.
And with the gold wheels, I said, man, they got a good looking motorcycle. They quit running them. I don't know.
Well, so also like the main graphic on the shroud is Steel City Men's Clinic, and that's black and yellow. So it like popped the yellow on that thing too.
Yeah, I thought it worked. I think they should go back to them.
Hey man, you hearing this right now, Ben? We got to get the gold wheels back. Break them out. Oh wait, maybe not for Camp Coker. Remember that one year that there was lime or whatever in the dirt and it ate away everybody's anodized stuff?
Yeah, I saw Bruton actually sent me a post that somebody sent on the GNCC website that said to cover your bike in WD-40 and SC1.
GNCC's website said that?
On the Facebook.
Oh, dang. So I wonder, like, is it... I don't know nearly enough about that to be talking about it, but is it, like, naturally occurring, or is that something they put down there for other reasons?
I think it's from all the clay pigeons.
Really? So, like... Oh, the
Yes.
clay pigeons. Okay.
So all the clay pigeons, like the sporting clays shooting that they do down there, I don't shoot sporting clays, but from my understanding, they're made out of lime, and
Oh, wow.
all of that left in the soil when it's wet. Because that year was really muddy when that happened, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's what it was.
I did not even think about that. Interesting. So, yeah, spray yourself down with WD-40 and SC1, it sounds like. But yeah, so Ben Nelko rolling in that XC2 class. Steve Nicholas, he ended up in second place in XC2, and then the lean, mean wheelie machine Mike McLean ended up getting third. Shout out Mikey, let me sleep in his camper Saturday night. That was cool. But he was out there rolling as well. Pro-Am had Grady Faint going out there, taking the Pro-Am win. To my knowledge, that's his first Pro-Am win. So it was cool to see him up there. Bolton Baroth, he's joining us with Full Gas now, and he gets second place in that Pro-Am class. And then how about Wolfie, Dillon Wolf? He came out and got third place in Pro-Am, which I'm looking at it in my notes. I definitely spelled his last name wrong on here, which means I probably spelled it wrong on the post.
Yeah, and it was spelled wrong on his check, too.
Dang. Did they spell it with an E?
No, they
Or
put
just one F?
One F instead of two Fs.
Dang it. See, I knew there was two Fs, and it says E, so I'm going to go ahead and say that autocorrect got me and changed my second F to an E.
Sometimes I have to go with the fat thumbs. That screws. Yeah.
They're pretty close to each other. Women's pro class, most entertaining one of the day was Rachel Archer taking the win, Mackenzie Tricker taking home second place, and Jessica Morrison rounding out the podium. Those girls, it was 5 seconds at the end, but going into the final test, it was 3 seconds. Rachel was down 3. She had won every enduro test but the first one, and Mackenzie had won every cross test. So the last 3 tests, Rachel finally got the lead back in test, what would that be, 7? 8, 9, 10. Test 8. Mackenzie led all day. Rachel got the lead in test 8. They went over to the cross test. Mackenzie got the lead back. Am I saying that right? Yeah, and then whatever it was, they ended on the enduro test, and Rachel was down by 3 seconds and came back to win by 5 seconds over Mackenzie Tricker. So it was cool to watch those girls. It's basically who can beat who by more on each side, because Rachel was winning the woods, Kenzie was winning the cross test, and it turned out to be a battle all the way to the end of the day. And Caleb Baltimore, who I got my attention at the Carolina XC races and how good he was doing and how young he is. He was the top amateur at Full Gas. And then before we get into Full Gas, just real quick, I want to talk about Mideast. Ryder Lafferty went down to the Mid-East race. He got it done, takes the win. Brody Johnson in second. Tyler Polymer coming straight off of a top M at the GNCC. He gets third. It's obviously Palmer, but skinny, Polymer, whatever you want to call him. Jonathan Johnson in fourth place, and Mike DeLosa was the top 5 at Mid-East. What'd you think of the track this weekend, Tom, at the Full Gas Sprint Enduro, round 3?
It was slick. It was way different. I haven't done a lot of the sprints, and that cross test was way different than the first 2 full gases this year. They were both sand, and I don't know. It was different because I couldn't figure it out. It was slick, and I was trying to set up turns, and I don't know if I was wasting too much time doing that or if I should just follow the rut that was there. I don't know. I sucked, but I had fun.
Did the lines change a lot throughout the day? Because I was able to ride the test basically. Yeah, it was at the end of the day on Saturday and then again before the day on Sunday. So the first thing that I noticed is being with Full Gas for the last few years, I would ride the tracks quite a bit. And when everyone races on the same day, all the lines get developed at once. Well, what I'm seeing now is with all the amateurs on Saturday, it is a completely different line than any of the pros would take. So going out and riding the track after a day of racing is a little bit weird because typically you see the pro lines and the amateur lines, but after Saturday's racing is done and before Sunday starts, it's very much, pretty much one line where a lot of the amateurs are going, and it's a completely different line than what I'm used to seeing at Full Gas events because I'm used to seeing the pro lines broken in as well. So did you see a big difference in the lines between the beginning of the day and then towards the end of the day as everything was developing?
In the enduro test, yes. There was definitely some better lines that got broken throughout the enduro test. And the cross test, I don't know if I just didn't find them or didn't know what to look for, but no, I didn't think that they developed like I thought they would. I was trying to swing out and set the corners up and, cut in like that's what everybody says you're supposed to do, but there was never anything that got really burnt in. I'd like to go to one of these Full Gas that's got a big pro class, a big Pro 1, Pro 2, and see if they develop. Because I don't think they did, especially on the cross test.
Yeah, I wanted to take another ride at the end of the day on Sunday, but also blown out and ready to go home that I didn't.
It's a long day. That 10 tests in a day is by the 9th and 10th test, it's like, all right, let's get this over with and get in the truck and go home.
Yeah, 10 tests. 10 tests makes for a long day and a lot of racing, but I mean, you're there one day, so a lot of people have still been showing up on Saturday, hanging out, walking the track, watching the racing going on, but if you look at the overall times, they're not far off from what Full Gas used to be with 2 days of racing. I mean, even with 2 days of racing, it's 12 tests, and when you're doing 10 and the track's just a little bit longer, and I think right now just trying to find that sweet spot, I mean, the overall test times are pretty comparable, I think.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't really do – I did a total of a day and a half of the old Full Gas, so not a lot, and I don't know. It's not a long day as far as on the bike, so to say, but just from the time you're geared up to the time you're done, it does seem long. But I mean, shoot, you can't complain about it because we did 10 tests and we started every test on the 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It was. You can't complain about. It's not like there's a big break in there. It's not like they're lollygagging around. It's you start at 11:30 you start test 2, 12 o'clock you're on test 3. So that goes quick. It just throughout the day it seems to add up.
Let me ask you this: Is 30 minutes too short or too long or just right between tests?
to be honest, I think it's just right. Like for me, it is. I come back and my arms cool down a little bit. Arm pump goes away. If you need to do something to your bike, you have, if you can do it quick, you got enough time to do that. But I don't know. I definitely wouldn't want it to be any longer because, like I said, that's just going to add to the day.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was just curious too, because from announcing it, I mean, kind of the role as an announcer at Full Gas is really just organizing stuff. And so seeing the texts come up so quick, or just bouncing back and forth, because splitting it up in 2 days too, it's not as many people all at once. So it feels like the day goes by quicker, but I mean, there's now 3 things in life you can be certain of. In addition to death and taxes, it's test time starting on the 30 minutes and on the hour. Those military dudes, they don't play.
Yeah, and this weekend seemed to be a little bit more relaxed, but at the first 2, I don't know the guy's name, but he's sitting there with the results, and after the first test, he's lining you up by your overall time in your class, and he's looking at his phone, and he points to you, and he points to where you need to be, and it's like, you go here now. You get in line now. And there's been a couple instances where somebody showed up late, and their spot in line hasn't taken off yet, and they're running to the spot in line and telling you, say, you stop, let this guy in. And yeah, they're definitely organized, sure.
Yeah, it's crazy. We used to have moms and girls in tank tops, just like, hey, whenever you're ready, come on over.
I mean, I wouldn't mind the girls in tank tops running around. That'd be great.
No, they did a great job. It's just, I joke about that. Like, the Full Gas crew before was awesome, and it was awesome to be a part of. But the new crew, I've never worked around like that many military guys all at once, and then you got that many military guys working together on this one single project too. That is everyone's mission for the weekend. It's pretty crazy. Like, sometimes I just sit back and watch, like, and see what's going on.
Yeah,
I would never have that much organization.
I think you gotta give Koscheck, a pat on the back for assembling that group of people, and you don't see, or at least I didn't see, or haven't seen him running around like a chicken with his head cut off, saying, no, you need to be here, you need to be here, you need to be doing this, and like freaking out. Like, he's walking around watching, doing this and that here. If there's an issue, he's the first one there to handle it. But he's assembled a group of guys that they know their role, they know what they're doing, and shit's getting done right.
Yeah, and I feel like something like that, it's all about the team you put together, because nobody can do all that stuff by themselves. And yeah, he did put together a hell of a team. But speaking of Koscheck, one of the things, like, it's crazy to see the passion that he has for dirt bikes. Like, I didn't get started in dirt bikes till later in life. He didn't get started in dirt bikes till even later in life. And kind of what I went through in the beginning is what I see him going through now. Like, I've always been a bit of an MMA nerd. Like, every time I see him, I want to talk to him about. So the last round, not this past one, but round 2, it was the night of the NCAA Wrestling Championships. And, like, I've been waiting all day, all month, all year to watch it. And I asked him if he's watching. He's like, I didn't even know it was on. And, like, I want to talk to him about fighting, and I want to talk to him about fighting GSP and Tyron Woodley and, like, all these big-name dudes. And, like, you say something to him like that, and he'll kind of, like, shrug it off, maybe talk about it a little bit. But you, like, talk about, hey, man, how would you hit that corner right there? Oh, dude, I would. Like, he just lights. It's like when he was on the show talking about the series. Like, just the energy he has for it. You mentioned him not running around with a chicken with his head cut off. I got videos on my phone of him, like, on his knees in the dirt, like, filming with his iPhone, trying to get below and, like, doing slow-mo shots. I think it's absolutely awesome. Like, he legit wanted the series just to have it just because he didn't want to see it go away. And I don't know, man. It's cool to see the passion that he's putting into it.
Yeah, it's well, I'm at a loss for words. I don't know what to say. I don't know what word I'm trying to use, but yeah, it's awesome to see. Like you said, you spoke about him running around with his phone. I know my first cross test I took off on, I think, went into my graphics and I look over and he's right up on my bike, videoing me take off, and I'd like to see that video.
This is awesome. Yeah, I guess see if we can get that. But I don't know. That to me, it's just cool because like I don't know. I guess it's like from me in high school watching him on The Ultimate Fighter, and now it's like he's just a dude that's crazy about dirt bikes. I think it's pretty cool.
Just some regular old man. That's not old man, but old dude. That's what it is.
But like, so Saturday after racing was over, a bunch of people were looking for him, and I was looking for him just to kind of pick his brain on some stuff. And it's like, have you seen him? No. Have you seen him? No. And then next thing you know, we hear whoa, and look over, and it's Koscheck off into the woods on his dirt bike. Like, worked all day, and the first thing he wanted to do was go ride.
He went geared up and ripped the test.
Yeah. And then I heard some bikes. So I've never had to work or race and not have anything to do until 10:30. And on Sundays, there's no youth in the morning, so everyone just hangs out. And I've never been in that situation before. But this past Sunday, like I hear it's like 7:30 in the morning, and there's some bikes out there riding the track. So I think it was him and some of the other crew guys like just getting laps in.
Shoot, I didn't know that. I didn't hear him.
Oh, yeah. I heard him. Because you were parked right next to the track, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess you sleep heavier for dirt bikes than you do people trying to break into your van.
You heard about that?
Yeah, from Steven.
Man, he scared the shit out of me. Oh, we won't get into that.
Oh, I just thought that was a funny story. Yeah, man. Other than that, like you said, you never raced a lot of sprints before. Have you raced all three of them or just two?
Yeah, I've done all three of them.
What do you think of them? Like, what do you think of sprints in general, like as a discipline?
They're hard. Not physically, so much, but for me, it's hard to stay focused all day on going as fast as you can, right? So, and I'm not like I'm running the pro class. I'm not going that fast, but to focus on going as fast as you can and not making mistakes is hard to do. It's hard to turn that switch on every time. You go into a regular hair scramble, or even in like an enduro is more endurance, really, or a little bit more endurance, still sprinting, but longer periods. So, but you go into a hair scramble, like you start off going fast, and then you got to pace yourself to finish fast. But at these things, there is no pacing. It's go as fast as you can, focus on not making mistakes, and yeah, I don't know. It takes a lot of mental power, I guess.
For me, it was always really hard. So I guess I should start by saying, even before I had this last leg injury, I was already at the point in life where I really enjoy riding my dirt bike. I don't necessarily enjoy trying to ride my dirt bike as fast as humanly possible or as fast as I can go. But for me, it was always hard to go from sitting and hanging out and drinking some water and hanging out to jumping on the bike and immediately going as fast as you possibly can.
Yeah, like you gotta reset your mindset, I think, and I think that's something that you can figure out how to do, but I think just jumping into it's hard to do. Like Wolf, Dillon
with two Fs.
Yeah, with two Fs. He's a real fast moto kid, or moto guy. He's not a kid no more, but I talked to him this morning. He said, "Dude, I've never done anything like that." He said it was fun to ride my dirt bike, and I had fun, but he said that was tough. He said I just struggled all day. So that's kind of how I felt about it too. So I don't know. It's weird. It's a different deal for sure.
Yeah, and it's crazy that Full Gas was the first ones to do it, and you watch the people that did it for years and did the whole season. You would see them progress and be so much farther ahead than a lot of other people. And that's the craziest thing about sprint enduro racing is that It's completely different. You got to pick lines different. You got to approach it different. Everything is different. And I don't think people realize that. It's like, oh, man, like, it's riding a dirt bike. It's woods. It's a field. Like, it's the same. It's not the same. And I think a lot of people that are really fast A-class guys or even pro guys or even, like, B guys, winning Bs at Hare Scramble, and then they come out to a full gas and get stomped, for lack of a better term, and then I think they get discouraged and they don't come back to another one. When it's the same thing. If you have talent, you have talent. I think full gas just takes a little bit more of an approach and of a game plan. Like, I feel like you got to plan it out more, like more strategery in it. But that was the biggest. I've seen people we know that have done really well in hare scrambles, really well in enduros, come out to sprint enduros, don't do as well as they think they should, and get beat by someone they might get beat or that might never not get beat by in a hare scramble, and then just take it to heart. But it is one of them things that I think you have to keep doing to get fast.
Well, right. I agree with that, and I think it's so much different than anything else. Like, 3-hour GCC, a regular 2-hour hare scramble, a national enduro. Like, I think there's comparisons in all those, right? Like the 3-hour GCC and the length of a national enduro, you have to pace yourself. You have to have a speed from a 2-hour in both of those. But at the sprints, like, none of that works. You know what I'm saying? Anything you take from those three types of races does not work in a sprint, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, you got to choose different lines. Like, you don't take a breather. You take a breather when you finish. There's, you're on and then you're off, and then you're on and you're off, and it's not like you're on for 30 minutes. You're on for 8 minutes or 7 to 8 minutes, whatever it is, and yeah, I don't know. It's tough. I didn't realize how tough they were, and I think this weekend was even tougher than the first two, mainly because of the way the cross test was laid out, which from videos and stuff I've seen seems more like a traditional cross test than what the first two were.
Yeah, so. Admittedly, I did not ride either of the first two cross tests. The first one I could barely walk, and it was my first time riding a mountain bike that day, actually. And then the last one, I tried to ride, and it still hurt, so I rode one loop around the enduro test. But this one, I rode the cross test, and everyone kept asking me how it was, and, I mean, my only response was, feels like a cross test. And then I guess the more I'm learning is just like you said, like, it's a difference between the first two. But for me, yeah, I mean, that seemed like a traditional full gas cross test this weekend. And I thought the woods do up.
You said the same thing about the enduro test to me.
Yeah. See, I thought it flowed really well, but I don't. Everyone has their own interpretation of things. And also, I'm riding for shits and giggles. It's not like I was pushing the pace or racing it 10 times in a day, but man, I'm so excited to be back out there on a bike. It honestly hurts less to ride my dirt bike than it does to walk, and that's exciting.
Isn't that crazy? I mean, that's how my right ankle is. You've seen me limp around, Big Buck weekend. I limped around all weekend. I had people coming, man, why are you limping? What's wrong? What's going on? And I said, I just got a jacked up ankle and it hurts. And then I race and I get done. And I'm walking around and I'm not limping and my ankle's not hurting one bit at all. And I'm like, dude, this is weird.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I dab my foot. That kind of hurts. But other than that, it feels cool. I'm glad to be. That gives me confidence and encouragement to go ride dirt bikes more and hopefully build this thing back up, and so it doesn't matter here after a while.
Yeah, it just takes time.
But anyway, man. So trying a little bit different things this week. We got the debate club going on. It's an idea I've been kind of thinking about for a while, but I haven't done it. One, because I'm usually busy during the day, and two, when I'm on the clock, kind of shouldn't be posting stories all day long. But neither one of those things applied to this week, so we finally did it. First ever debate club. I think it's something that start doing more in the future, just with different topics. There's a lot of really good topics on there. Ended up narrowing it down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different questions. And you and I have some differing opinions. You and I have some shared opinions on it. But I did the...
Hey, can I say something? I'll be honest. When you said something to me about coming on the show, I was like, yeah, like I'm down. And then you posted that on your the OTP story, and I was like,
surprise!
I was like, oh shit, this is. I got kind of giggly and excited. I was like, oh, this is gonna be cool. I think I called you and I was like, is this what we're doing? And yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think we've shared ideas back and forth about a lot of things, and I think this is a great idea that you've had.
Hey man, thanks. Appreciate it. But no, I think that stuff is interesting, and the cool thing is a lot of these I would sit there and read them. I was like, oh, that's a good one. I got to share it. Oh, that's a good one. I got to share it. And then I started looking at it, and it's like over 100. When we talked again, it was like a few hours later, and there's over 100 questions. And then now, I mean, I don't even know how many there is. So there's still plenty of content to do this and keep it rolling. And I think the more that we discuss and the more we talk about it and the longer it goes on, I think the more creative the debates will be.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that.
So I just want to go, I'm going to go through them in order. I think that probably makes the most sense. Real quick, before we get started, the two that I'm going to say the one that won in a landslide and then the closest one as of 9:06 p.m. So as of 9:06 p.m., 4,117 people have voted on these. And the biggest margin of victory is 87% to 13%, and that is East Coast Riders versus West Coast Riders. And then the tightest one, which I think is going to be a fun topic to discuss when we get down to that one, is the photo credit question. Buying photos versus credit on photos. That one is tight at 46 to 54%. Throughout the day, I mean, I've seen that thing a little bit on one side, a little bit on the other side, right at... I got distracted there. Right at 50-50. I just saw your text come through. Yes, this is show 100, and I completely forgot about it until right now.
Hell yeah. I feel honored.
It's crazy, man. But, yeah, photo cred, 46-54. Yeah, show 100. I totally forgot all the stuff that I talked about and set this thing up. Completely forgot show 100.
You started talking about numbers, and I was like, wait a second. This is it.
Yep. After 4.5 years, so how many shows should there have been by now? That's the question.
Oh, man. I can't believe out of all the people that you've had on this thing, and something that seemed to be a special show 100, you picked my dumbass to be on here. Anyway, let's keep going.
Before I even knew you, Trevor Barrett all the time would say, you need to get Big Tom on the show. He wants to come on. I'm like, who's Big Tom? It's like, you got to get him on the show. And I think that's actually how we met, is talking about the show. And now you're on the intro.
I'm on the show every week. Well, every other week. Yeah.
Hey, I caught that. No, that is... So, I don't know, the whole... I don't want to beat a dead horse, but the whole job thing coming down to the way it came down, and it's like literally meeting, and then same day and into the next day, we got show 100 as the next show out, hitting 20,000 on Instagram, which is pretty nuts, and then 100,000 downloads so far, and now it's show 100, so... I don't know. This is all like signs, so hopefully OTP is back on track and quit slacking and only up from here.
That's right. We're all looking forward to it.
Heck yeah. Me too, man. It's scary. So scared right now. Got a giant cloud over my head, but hey, I'm happy to be doing it, and never know until you try. But anyway, I don't want to make this about me. This is about dirt bikes. First question. we're going to get into. And this, just like I told you before, it's more of a, this was the one question that I really didn't have a strong answer one way or the other. And realistically, it's kind of helped me out a little bit. But it is, do riders enjoy photos or videos from after a race? So, you voted videos. Tell us why.
You know,
I do know now that you mention it.
Do what? Yeah.
Just kidding.
Yeah. You're reading my mind. I don't know. I think like, do you mean videos as like the what GNCC's doing with Between the Arrows, or videos like cell phone videos of, you know, somebody hitting a corner or a hill or a jump or something?
So now that you say that, I guess I should have been more specific with it, because realistically what I meant is, do you want to see videos of you or photos of you after a race?
Okay. You know, me personally, I think I like watching the videos, like a video of myself. That way I can, I don't know, I've always liked videos better. But now that I'm thinking about it, somebody takes a bitchin' photo of you, like, I don't know, some of the pictures that Mac Faint takes, and, you know, all these other people taking pictures. There's some pretty badass photos that, those are pretty cool. I mean, you can hang those up on the wall, right? So, but me, I don't know. I've always thought videos were cool. Whether that's a start or, which is normally what my videos are, because I got magic fingers on the start, trigger thumbs. I don't know. That was just, honestly, I didn't even think about it when I clicked I didn't know that's what we were going to be doing when I voted, and I just voted without thinking. But yeah, I don't know if that makes any sense at all.
Yeah, for me, it's like, I don't know, that one I could go back and forth with, and that's why some races I take photos and some races I take videos. And here lately, I've been more video focused, because it seems like where the engagement is, as far as like people watching TikTok now and watching reels, and I feel like people want to see videos, but at the same time, it's also a touchy thing, because people don't want to watch 5-minute videos. People definitely don't want to watch 10-minute videos. So it's kind of weird finding that balance. But I have such an appreciation for photos, but it's only certain photos. Like, if you can get a photo in the right spot, in the right area, at the right angle, I think photos you can get a lot more appreciation out of it, just because it kind of stops everything in time. So one little subtle detail that you wouldn't even notice someone riding in person or even riding in a video, sometimes a photo can capture it. And I think that's what's cool about photos, especially when you're talking about, you know, like water or mud or sand, or where there's like something moving dynamically with the bike too, and you stop that in time. I don't know. I find myself like geeking out on a lot of photos and really appreciating them. But videos show more of an experience. Like videos, if it's a race, especially if you didn't go to it, or even if it's a race that you did go to and you watch a pro hit a line versus you hitting a line, I think it's a lot more analytical. Like, it's a lot, you have a lot more idea of how the race actually went by seeing a video, if any of that makes sense.
Right, and that's kind of what I was getting at. And like you said about the reels and the TikTok and stuff, I think you can make some really funny reels and TikToks that catch on and go viral, and or what viral in relative terms, but or you can, with the way you can add songs to them and stuff, I think you can make a sick little mini edit, so to say. I think those are cool, but at the same time, like you said, you got to be able to appreciate a photo that, checks all the boxes.
Yeah. See, going right, like I tried to do the detailed explanation to kind of tip myself one way or the other. And now I'm right back at square one because it's like, man, I can see the pros of both. Like, I can see photos and I can see videos. I'm torn. The people as a whole are 68% videos and 32% photos. So that's a little bit wider of a gap than I would think.
So out of those, I mean, not so much on this one. We spoke about the one that I'm really interested about, but as far as who voted for it, but are there any like XC1, XC2 guys that's voting on that? What's their opinions?
Yeah, and so that's the other thing is I was going through this, especially like the WXC one and some of the other ones. I'm obviously not going to call out names of people who voted which way, but that's been the interesting thing is seeing the overall consensus one way or the other, but then going back and looking at like the top guys and I don't know, just different industry people. I can see them voting on here too. So it seems like on the whole, and this is not breaking out the damn tally marks and counting, but it seems like on the whole, the pro guys are towards videos.
Right. And I think that has to do with the social media engagement, if I had to guess.
Yeah. Which is also with the masses on the videos.
Right. So, yeah, that's definitely there's kind of like you said, and like I said, when I saw it, I just voted, my first instinct. But now that I think about it, like, I've seen some pretty cool pictures that, if those were pictures of me, I'd be buying and framing and hanging up on the wall.
Yeah. So it's funny you said that. That's actually literally what I was about to just say is you can't hang a video on the wall. So like my living room, and I think you've seen it, but I have a poster-sized picture of the shot that I got in Racer X magazine on like the 2 pages for the table of content. But I got those 3 guys to sign that one, and then all around the outside of it, I just have some of my favorite photos that I've taken of riders kind of collaged around it. So it's cool to get in that. And like my buddies, dude, one of the most rewarding things for me is when I go over to a buddy's house and a photo that I took is framed and on their wall. Hanging out with Rachel Archer over the weekend. She was like, oh, you want some stickers? And I was like, oh, sure. She hands me a sticker. It's my photo on the sticker. I was like, wait, that looks familiar. So I don't know. There's, like I said, pros and cons to both. I feel like the picture is like I said, a moment in time, and the video will help you relive it better. Still don't know if that makes sense.
I almost think the picture is maybe more of an old school thing nowadays.
Yeah.
And so if they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, what's a video worth?
Well, if it's filmed at 30 frames per second, then that's 30,000 words per second. We can do some calculating.
Too many numbers.
No, that one, like I said, it was just kind of interesting to hear the general consensus. But last question before we get off of that one, we got 8 more of these things to go through, so I guess we gotta keep it moving. But going off the interpretation of that, I kind of meant it as yourself. Like, would you rather see photos of yourself or videos of yourself after a race? Does your opinion change between what you'd rather see of yourself versus what you would rather see of the pros? Honestly, man, I'd rather see like I gotta start watching what I say on this thing, because now that 9 people are listening, it's like I have to answer to a lot more of the things that I say. So I do not mean anything bad by this. Every person out there that is about to hear this, please don't take this the wrong way. I don't have a single photo of myself racing a dirt bike that I like, that I'm like stoked about. Like, that is an excellent photo of me. So for me, I'd rather see photos of me, but I'd rather watch videos of the pros.
Yeah, I mean, I'm contradicting myself, but I would agree with that. And I think the videos on the pros part is because, I mean, I think me and you are kind of the same way, that we watch a video and it's not just like, well, we watch it and oh, that was cool. We watch it and then we rewatch it and watch it again and watch what those guys are doing and can appreciate how good they are.
Yeah. I think part of it for me, too, is they kind of look Mickey Mouse-ish. And what I mean by that is, like, pros, they're in fresh gear every time they ride. They are at a race. It's fresh gear, fresh bikes, fresh graphics, clean bike, clean gear, clean graphics. And so I feel like photos, they always look like they look in the pits. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I'd rather see a video of them ripping because I saw their setup, and I feel like a lot of the pictures look the same after a while, but videos of them riding and how gnarly they ride change wherever they're at.
You know, now that you say that, pictures of them look the same after a while. I agree with that. So I'm going to stick with videos for pros, and I like videos and pictures of myself.
All right, so that settles it, I guess. Next one, and this is one that you and I differ on. So this one is, should the WXC class run the AM race or the PM race? This was another one that it was honestly, not only is it a bigger gap in the voting than I thought that there would be, I thought the voting would be flipped. So it is 38% to 62%. 38% vote AM race, 62% the majority vote PM race. In this one, Tom, you are the majority. Do you want to go first or you want me to go first?
I don't think it matters if I go first or you go first, but I'm going to end up sticking my foot in my mouth. So you go first. That way, after I stick my foot in my mouth, we can change the subject.
My opinion of this is, it's kind of twofold. I want to see the girls race for 3 hours. I think some of the girls want to race for 3 hours. I am absolutely dying inside to know what those girls' overalls would be in the afternoon race. We saw Taylor Jones wrap up one of her championships and move up to the 3 hour race for the last 3 or 4 races, but it was on a 125. And so she got on the podium, if I'm not, I don't know about that. If she didn't, she was close. Definitely top 5. But she did really well. But that was also on a completely different bike at the end of a season when she had been riding a 250F all year long. She jumped to a 125. So while she still did very good, I don't think it was an accurate comparison. Now, in that being said, right now, XC2 barely gets covered. XC3 might as well not even exist. And A-Class, unless you win Top Am, you're not, like, it's not out there. They're not getting covered. I don't think that the depth of the coverage is anywhere close to where it should be in that 1 o'clock race. It seems to be not only the XC1 show, but who's first and second in the XC1 show. And that is why I think the girls being in the morning is a good thing. I think they need to stay in the morning, and whether you adjust the time of the morning or how it's all set up, that's a completely different conversation. But the women being the premier event of that morning race, being the front line, being the spectacle, getting the introductions, and now they're overall in the race, I think the level that they have pushed themselves to over the past couple of years is absolutely insane. I think the speed of that WXC class has picked up tremendously, and I don't know that would be recognized and appreciated as much as it is now if they were blended in and faded away in the 3 hour race because they're not winning XC1.
I have no argument for that. I mean, I have that same opinion too. And I just pulled it up while you were talking, but it was 2017 that Taylor won. She actually won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Maybe 9, yeah.
Won 9 in a row of the women's race.
I'm also pretty sure that is the year that there was only 12 races, right?
Yes, because there's not a round 12.
Yeah.
So then she did round 11 and round 13 in XC3, finished 6th and 36th overall, and then 5th and 44th overall.
Which is legit, dude. On a 125 too.
Pretty damn good. But also, looking at that, she did not win and was not as dominant in the overalls in the morning race back then. I mean, she won every WXC race, but she only won two overalls and was only on the podium. Including those overalls, she was on the podium 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 9. So
damn.
So definitely, since then, I think that it's fair to say they've gotten faster.
Yeah,
100%. The women.
That's just 2017. That's 4.5 years ago, and that's happening. And now you got Brewer Colley winning local pro races and getting beat by 2 minutes in the morning by them girls. And not to pick on him, he texted me about it, but the level is picked up. I would love to see what Rachel, Kenzie, Corey, Taylor, all them girls, Rachel Goodish when she comes back, Preston and Jocelyn as they're moving into it. I would love to see them in a group pushing each other in the afternoon race on their normal race bikes and see what they could do. But I would much rather see them get the shine and get the spotlight of being the main event in the morning.
Yeah, it would definitely be interesting. And I think that was one of my reasons for voting for them to race the 3 hour is, one, there'd be a lot of butthurt kids that's getting beat by a girl or girl oral, myself being one of them. I can't run with them. So I think it would be interesting to see how they stack up. But, I mean, going back to what you said, you got XC1, XC2, XC3, and then are you going to start ahead of the A guys? Or are you going to start them behind the A guys in front of the vet guys? And if you start them that far back, then they're almost at a disadvantage to start behind some of those A guys that they're going to, you know what I'm saying? There's top 4 or 5 whips faster than the back half of the A classes.
Oh, for sure. And then the top 2 or 3 are faster than the majority of the A-riders. Yeah.
But I think that's where my vote kind of came from was what could they do? Where would they stack up? And how many feelings would they hurt, for the 3 hour? I agree with you that they wouldn't get the spotlight. I also think that it would hurt their paycheck. I think if you're out of the spotlight, you're not going to get paid as well or as many endorsements. So that's something else to think of. But I don't know. This day and age, equality. So put them with the big boys. They're pros.
No, I mean I can see that. As far as the pay, I don't want to speak out of pocket, but I think the overall WXC pay is like $250, pretty much everywhere. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's a problem across the board, really.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not get on that topic.
No, but I mean I think the exposure and everything that they're getting now is the way to start growing that, and that's what
I meant as far as maybe not pay from the series, but as far as sponsorship, like team rides and sponsorship deals and gear money and this and that they all get. Do you want to be, does Fly Racing or Moose or whoever want to sponsor the top, female rider in the country, or do they want to sponsor the 20th best female rider in the, what sounds better? What's better and what sounds better is completely different things.
Yeah.
But like I said, throw them in the deep end. They'll figure it out. I mean, they've They figured it out now, so let's see what they can do.
I wish they would broadcast the 10 a.m. race. Everything's set up. I think it'd be cool to, and granted, I get so kind of one-tracked, and it seems like a lot of times when we're meaning to talk about all of off-road, I'm kind of focusing on GNCC, but that's just where the money is. I mean, riders get contracted to race GNCC and whatever series you want. And GNCC is the premier series in the world and premier series in the nation. So I kind of revert all of my thinking back to that because they are the industry leader. So they kind of set the precedence. And even the ATV girls, like the WXC on the ATV side, they've been pushing each other to the point where it's a different winner every round. And so everything's there. Everything's set up. Why aren't we seeing the women's pro class too? Like, I don't. Obviously, there's probably a lot more high-level and high-dollar decisions that go into that than what I'm capable of making, but just thought that I had.
Well, and a couple of years ago, they put all the starts on YouTube. They YouTube live the starts.
I thought that was cool too. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, and they've quit doing that.
Well. But so you're still sticking firm on PM?
I mean, firm's pushing it, but I think it would be interesting to take. I mean, and if you put the whole women's pro class in the 3 or the 1 p.m. race, I think it's going to be cut in half. You're probably going to have 7 or 8 women in that race, and then the rest of them's like, screw this, I don't need to be out there. And they're going to run the morning race in whatever class that is. So, but I think you could take Taylor, Rachel, Tricker,
Corey.
Yeah, Corey. Am I missing somebody? I thought there was 5.
I forgot who you said already. But
maybe I was thinking of Becca Sheets, but she ain't racing no more.
But yeah, then do what?
Just take those 5 and put in the 1 o'clock race. Throw them in the A class in 250A or 4-stroke A or whatever, and let them run with the boys and see what they can do. I think that would be interesting. And I think it would be cool to see a girl break out and do that, even if she was by herself.
Are they top 20, you think?
This year or a regular year? This year, maybe. A regular year, no. I say they're between 20 and 30.
What year was the year that they combined the morning race and the afternoon race?
I don't know, but it was probably a motor.
Yeah, it was a really bad mud race. I thought it was 2017. I guess it must be 2018.
Was that the one in Kentucky?
No, it's in Indiana.
Oh, okay. At the X Factor?
Yeah. But I thought it was 2017 because that was the year I was working for Racer TV. It was the year Johnny Gallagher got his first quad win because I filmed him coming through the finish line and Walker Fowler jumped off and jumped on Johnny, and I thought he was swinging at him. I didn't know what was going on. I saw 2 brown blobs and it looked like they were fighting. But it was pretty cool. It was one of my favorite GNCC moments was filming that and then hearing the recap of it afterwards. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I guess one ATV overall win gets you in the booth for the races, no matter how bad you are.
That was so unnecessary.
It's the truth.
Dedicating his time. We love Johnny G. Moving on to the next one. West Coast versus East Coast. This was the widest margin of victory that there was throughout the entire thing. It was 13% to 87%. Obviously a little bit biased. 87% says East Coast, 13% says West Coast. I think we're both on East Coast on this one. Why do you think that is, Tom?
I think just not even now, but if you look years ago, people that come over from the West Coast race, our races struggle big time, I think. And there's really not much comparison other than I think Thad and Caleb's gone over and raced, and I think Bollinger has too, some West Coast races. And if I'm not mistaken, Caleb and Thad both had podiums, I think.
I believe so.
I could be wrong, but I don't know. I
think Thad won a works race like a couple years ago.
Maybe he won and Caleb podium. I don't remember. I remember there's a group of them that went over there and raced like 2 or 3 works races. And I know Caleb was supposed to run one of the series over there is his second series one year, and that went to shit real quick. But
Thad won 2 of them. He in 2019 he won 2 back-to-back works races. But yeah, Caleb for his second series chose AMA Big 6 and went over and raced it.
Yeah, but I don't think he did all of them, did he?
No, I think so. I think that was the year that he blew out his knee or something happened. Something happened, and he ended up focusing on GNCC.
Yeah. So, but no, I think the terrain, and I'm, those guys over there are gnarly as hell in what they do. I feel like your hard enduro guys are out there, or the majority of them at least, and I feel like your desert racers are out there. But I feel like if you send our guys over there versus those guys coming over here, I think our guys do better. Just from how gnarly the stuff is over here, how intense it is, and I don't know. It's always seemed to be that way. If you look at the ISDE teams, the majority of the time it's 3 East Coast guys and 1 desert guy, and on the junior team it's 2 East Coast and 1 desert guy, and same for the women. So, yeah, that's kind of where I come from on that.
Yeah, I think the past couple of years, it's been more West Coast women, but I could be mistaken on that as well. But yeah, I mean, I kind of use the ISDE as a judge too. But I mean, even though you got Taylor Robert won it overall, Dante Oliveira crushing it this year, the West Coast guys, and I admit I voted East Coast partly because I'm a homer, but I do have a little bit of reasoning to back it up. I think there's more varied terrain in the East Coast, and I'm saying that in the absolute most ignorant way possible because I've never even ridden on the West Coast. To me, I just see like desert and rock and then more desert. And I think East Coast over here, like Florida is different than Georgia, is different than South Carolina. It's different than North Carolina. It's different than Pennsylvania. So I think everywhere you go on the East Coast, it's different type of terrain. I mean, you got more roots in some places, you got more rock in some places, you got clay in some places, you got sand in other places, you got the Penton, which makes no sense to any of them, and it's the dumbest dirt I've ever ridden in my entire life. There's just a lot of different things go into it, and so that's what I was kind of thinking as far as like a technical standpoint. But I mean, racing overall as a whole, you can kind of go back and forth. You can see West Coast success, you can see East Coast success, all of that. But I think from me, one of the biggest things that I want to do is, especially now that I got a little bit more time to invest into the podcast, I want to start West Coast Wednesdays. I've kind of talked about it before, but that's a whole demographic of racing that I know nothing about. And I want to get to know more about it. I don't know how it works out there. I don't know where they race, how the races work, what races are which. And like as big as GNCC is here, that's how big all of those series are out there. And that's also where the majority of the motorcycle industry is. So I personally would like to learn more about West Coast to then maybe change my vote on this in the future, because right now, East Coast.
So which coast has the most off-road riders and racers?
I don't know, man. So I know that GNCC is the largest race series in the world for participation, but I know things out there get classified differently, and I think that's GNCC has a season. Because, I mean, just this past weekend, I don't know what race it was, but there was like 8 million people in the desert racing. So, like, you see some of those hare and hounds or whatever they are, and, dude, it's literally like 4,240 people lined up across the desert, and they just take off going to the same direction. So,
But I think that's more of, I don't want to say an illusion, but the fact that you have 100 people starting at one time makes it look so much bigger. Whereas, like, I'm sure GNCC is taking their numbers for bikes from all 3 races on Sunday and all the mini, little kids Saturday, and you might, I don't know.
Once again, I will fully and confidently report back to ignorance on this one because I don't know anything about the West Coast. I wanna learn more about it. I don't know how many people are there. I don't know what races are there, so I can't answer that question.
I know way back in the day, 07, 08, I could be wrong. Kurt Caselli came over and raced the GNCCs, and he may have got one podium, maybe. I can look it up, but
yeah,
I don't think he won a race.
I'm not sure, but I mean, Taylor Robert has came over. Cody Webb came over. Obviously, he races hard enduro, but there's been some guys that have came over and dabbled in it. But I mean, it's hard to say, and I think that's one of the things too is it's so segmented in the United States that West Coast guys don't come to East Coast stuff, and East Coast guys don't come to West Coast stuff. But yet, every championship is a national championship. But there's never a time where the best from the West and the best from the East are racing each other. So maybe that's our call. Maybe I need to do a race series and somehow figure out how to get all of them
in the middle of the country.
We'll do it over Zoom.
Yeah, that's the only way you can get the left coast involved.
We'll just mark out the tracks with a certain number of feet, and then just hope for the best. No, it's interesting, and right now there is no true way to back it up. So it is whatever you think. Moving on to the next one. What?
No, hold on. I've always wondered this. What do you think a series would look like? Like the motocross series goes all around the country, right? They have 12 races around the whole country. What do you think a series would look like if you took, the West Coast works guys or whatever and all of our GNCC guys and made a series that goes, starts in Florida, goes up the East Coast, around, through Michigan, Missouri, Kansas, all out that way, and then come back around through Texas, and you went around the country.
My first 2 initial thoughts is, one, Moto and Supercross are pros only, so it's only the pros that have to travel, and privateers obviously, but they're pros too because they have their pro card. But then also the amount of money that is in motocross, is exponentially bigger than the money in off-road, and so I think that's the biggest limiting factor.
But why? Because your
eyeballs.
Okay, but your participant, your amount of participants is higher in off-road than in motocross, or at least it was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So, which who's selling more dirt bikes? The motocross guys or the off-road people?
That is a good point because a lot more people are racing in off-road. So, as far as buying, how many local moto guys do up?
I bet we tear up a lot more shit.
Yeah, buying more parts for sure. That's a great question, actually.
GNCT's always, as long as I can remember, GNCT's always announced himself as the premier off-road series, and it's always been called a national series, and and it is the premier series, but it's not really a national series. It's an East Coast series.
Yep.
That's a topic for another time, but.
But see, the same people that say that are also the same people talking about National Enduro traveling too far away.
Right. Yeah. And they're going all across the country, which is, I think, it's pretty badass. But you're right. They're going to lose participants when the majority of the races are on the East Coast, and then you have, 2 or 3 that's, 10, 12 hours away. So, I don't know. It's something to think about. I think it would be a cool, something cool to talk about with somebody that knows what they're talking about, not me and you.
Quick update. Full Gas just posted a story. I guess they overloaded the trailer and the trailer broke. So, that's not good.
Too many steaks.
Yeah. Moving on to the next one. We still got a lot of these things to blow through, and we've been talking for a long time.
Holy shit.
Auto clutch versus manual clutch. 15% only says auto clutch. 85% says manual clutch. I think we're both on the same side as this. I think it can basically be summed up as you either know how to ride a dirt bike or you buy a Recluse.
Yeah, you're either young and trying to go fast, or you're 50 and tired.
You're dreaming your first car is a V6 automatic Mustang or a 5.0 with a 5-speed.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So auto clutch has its benefits, like maybe if you're racing a hard enduro or some super weird stuff. Maybe if you flip a side-by-side and crush your fingers and need to still race for points, an auto clutch is a good thing in that scenario if you can't pull your clutch from another injury. That's just hypothetical. Certainly nobody's done that. Other than that, that would be about all I got to say about that. Next one. We're going to go into, this one is pretty interesting one. Sell your dirt bike every 2 years, which most contingencies are good for 2-year models. So sell your dirt bike every 2 years or keep it till it breaks and then get a new one. I kind of led into a little bit of my answer there. You, Thomas, voted ride it till it breaks. I voted keep buying them. What do you think?
Yeah, that's just because that's all I've ever been able to do is just ride it, keep it as long as you can till you get tired of fixing it, and then go buy one.
So my rationale here is my first bike was a used 250F. Actually, if you want to go back further than that, I had a Supermoto that was an old WR. I think it was actually a WR 400 Yamaha. Bought it used, bottom end blew out, had to do a complete rebuild. Bought a 250F. It was 08 YZ 250F. Rode it for a little while. Bottom end locked up, needed a complete rebuild. Had a Husky Redhead, had issues with it, had to get a different bike. Basically, what I'm getting at is used bikes, you don't know who in the world had it, how in the world they were taking care of it, so you're taking a gamble by buying it in the first place. But, as I kind of alluded to a second ago, you get contingency when you buy a brand new bike. All these manufacturers are supporting all these local series. You can go out and make money.
But you're getting off topic because that's not what the question was. It wasn't buy a used bike or buy a new bike. I agree with you. I buy new bikes.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying.
I always buy, I try to, or buy a bike from somebody that you know that's got low hours on it, but as far as I think personally, I think the way to do it is to cycle through your bikes, especially if you're riding the same thing every couple years. I think that's the way to do it. But personally speaking, from what I've been able to do throughout my life and what my parents have been able to do for me, was you get a bike and you ride it until it's so wore out that you can't keep it together. And then you sell it to somebody and make them a good deal on it, and you straight up with them and tell them, hey, look, this is how many hours on it, this is what I've done to it, and this is the bike you're getting, and that's why it's so cheap. So, and then you save up and go buy you a new bike, and it's like Christmas. But
yeah, definitely the situation you're at plays into this one a whole lot. I guess I look at it more of, I'd rather have that payment and then know that my bike's good versus risk blowing a bike up. But,
right, and I'll be honest, I've been, knock on wood, lucky throughout riding dirt bikes and haven't really blown many bikes up.
Yeah, and like you're saying, so if you buy a bike new and you maintain it throughout the life of it, and you ride your brand new bike until it's clapped out,
right?
That's a complete I could completely see that for sure.
So that's kind of, like I said, that's kind of situation that I've been in. But if, like you're saying, you're buying used bikes, and all you can speak for is the time and the care that you've put on it, then yeah, like maybe you buy one that's, I don't know, in worse shape than you thought it was, and you only want to ride it for a year and sell it.
Sounds like we're both under the consensus of go buy yourself a new bike and either ride it till it's roached or ride it while you can still get top dollar for it and sell it and get another one. So
or start a podcast and have a sponsor the show. That works.
I thought about saying that, but
there you go. I said it for you.
That, out of all the options, has been the best for me so far. That thing is pretty sick too, so it worked out. So yeah, that's a one that you can definitely see both sides of.
And like I mentioned, like if you're jumping between the same bike, like if I ride a KX 450, so if I go from that and buy another one, I can transfer a lot of parts over to it, and that makes sense. But if there's some people that buy bikes and have them for a year, and then they completely change. Like they'll have a gas 450 and then go buy a Honda 450 or 250, and to me, just as soon as you buy a new bike, for off-road, you're going to buy a big tank. You're going to get your suspension done. You're going to put your handlebars on it. And right there's $2,000 on top of buying a $10,000 dirt bike.
Yeah.
So I don't see how people can do that every 2 years or every year. But, especially at like a KTM, all of their bikes are so similar. Unless you're changing from like a 2-stroke to a 4-stroke, a lot of their plastics and stuff will transfer over, their bar mounts and bars and suspension.
So that's where I think KTM did it better, because all the plastics and body stuff and wheels and all that stuff is interchangeable from the 4-strokes to the 2-strokes, from my understanding.
I know the new bikes are, and I think the new bikes you can even change. Like you can buy a 450 and you can put a 250 2-stroke motor in it, and it just bolts right up. They all have the same engine mounts.
Yeah.
I know the 250, 350, and 450 do, but I also think you can put the 2-strokes in the same frame.
I think so.
That's for 20. That'll be 2023.
Yeah, but you look at the flip side of that, and Yamaha, while it's still cool that they make a 2-stroke, night and day difference, nothing fits, axles are different, plastics are different, air filters different, everything's different.
Yeah, but give them credit, and I think a lot of manufacturers are going this way. The Yamaha 250 and 450 are the same.
Yeah.
For the most part. The Kawasaki's, I'm pretty sure, they're not the same. They're very, very similar. As far as plastics and suspension go, you can change them, and the Hondas are the same way too. So I think you're starting to see bikes go that way. I mean, a couple of years ago it wasn't like that, but
yeah, until they come out with a new model, then none of your parts fit that one.
yeah, which that's every 2 to 3 years, 3-4 years.
Yep, but I mean that's what keeps progressing things. So
that's why we have $10,000 dirt bikes.
Next one is definitely the easiest one to talk about. No controversy whatsoever. Full gas Sprint Enduro versus the U.S. Sprint Enduro. Right now, the votes are 67% to 33%. 67% for the full gas Sprint Enduro Series and 33% for the U.S. Sprint Enduro Series. I almost blocked this one into 3 with OG Full Gas Reloaded, and U.S. Sprint Enduro. But which way did you vote on this one?
I mean, I went with the only one I've ever done, and that's the full gas. So, and then obviously I'm buddies with you, so no need to dive in that, that wormhole. But
yeah,
I mean, everybody knows what went on there. So yeah, I mean, I got no need to like U.S. sprints.
And it sucks. Like, I want to clear the air. I want things to be on a good playing field. I tried to extend an olive branch several times, and it didn't happen. And then some more things happened behind the scenes, even into this year. And I don't know. The old saying goes, if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all. And that's kind of the approach that I took. But this year I did message them, said, hey, if you send me pictures of your results, I'll post them. That didn't happen at the time. And then the stuff that I'm talking about happened after that. And so I'm kind of at the point where I don't want to keep bringing it up. I don't want to say anything negative. I don't want to cover it. I mean, obviously I'm involved with Full Gas now. I've been involved with Full Gas for 5 years now. And then I obviously have a personal thing that happened with all of it. So if you haven't heard that, the show titled Why I Disappeared for 3 Months will explain everything you need to know about the Sprint Enduro series and the difference between the two. But like simple as this year, we had a rider come over that was late getting to, they weren't going to be able to make it on Saturday to US Sprint Enduro, and asked them if they could transfer their entry to the next round or be refunded. And they were told no. They can't even transfer their entry that they paid for, that they couldn't be there for, to the next round, and they couldn't get their money back. So they showed up Sunday and raced with us and have been racing with us ever since. And it's like, I don't know, that's just kind of one of the last straws. It's like, why would you do that to a customer? But like I said, don't want to go down a rabbit hole on this. I wish things were kosher. I want to cover them because they are definitely top heavy. They're pros because of the way that contracts are set up. A lot of the pros are racing the U.S. Sprint Enduros. Like, I want to be able to talk about what's going on. I want to talk, like Cody Barnes. I'm so pumped that Cody Barnes went out this past weekend and he on a 250F from the Pro 2 class. Like, I think that's sick. When you see the videos of him and like Thorne Devlin ripping, and Gus Reardon, he was third out there again. Lyndon, one of our buddies, he's gone out there and won the things, and him and Johnny Gerard, before he got hurt, they were battling. I want to talk about Lane Michael. He won that championship. Like, Lane's a guy that's dealt with injuries, that's dealt with a lot of adversity, and he goes out and wins that championship last year. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about Josh Toth and how good that he's been riding. And then you got the girls class pretty much split in half. Like, Taylor and Corey are out there battling. Shelby Turner's in the mix. And then over here you got Rachel and Mackenzie and all them. Like, I want to watch all of them battling together, just like we were talking about earlier, especially at sprints, because I think that group is even closer at the Sprint Enduros. So it really sucks that it's came to this. I don't see how both of them make it through it, and especially the way that it's going right now. Like I said, it's kind of one of those things where, like, I want to cover it, but because of the things that have happened behind closed doors, I just don't want to give attention to it. But the pros that are out there riding it and doing it absolutely deserve all of the attention in the world. And at the end of the day, like, this whole show got started to try to help the pro riders. So puts me in quite the conundrum. I wish there was a way that we could just be one big happy full gas family again. But yeah, I don't know. Last year, definitely not a fan of how that series got started, but they've had a year of operation, so people that race full gas naturally went to US Sprint Enduro because it was the only option last year. Now you got full gas back. It switched to a one-day format. I think that's already brought a lot of people to it, just not having to commit a weekend to it, which was one of my biggest things with full gas before I started working with them. But now it's one day. It feels like full gas. The full gas family is there, like the environment of it, which US Sprint Enduro, I'm sure, is pretty close to the same. I've never been to one, so I wouldn't know. But I don't know. I think if you spent last year racing US Sprint Enduro, it's worth checking out a full gas. And yeah, I guess it really comes down to preference. I think the tracks get laid out relatively the same. If you go and look at the overalls for 2 days of racing versus 1 day of racing, pretty much all of them are within like 10 minutes. Like, it's pretty close on time. A couple of them are like 20 minutes, so it's close to the same amount of seat time, but it's 1 day of racing versus 2, which might suit some people better, but I don't know. I hope that I explained enough without sounding too bad.
Yeah, I would be interested to see them go on opposite weekends, right? Like, and I know there's been maybe what I'd like to see is a full gas have a weekend where there's not a U.S. sprint.
But the thing that sucks about that, and granted, I was neck deep in all of this stuff. I like throughout that process last year, I was as involved as you can get, like setting schedules, looking at weekends, all this, that, and the other. With all the other series that go on and the way that you have to schedule around it and the pecking order in which other series get their picks, it basically leaves the Sprint Enduros to the holiday weekends. If you look at the Sprint Enduro weekends, which now they overlap, but you look at them, they're on Mother's Day, Father's Day, Memorial Day, Labor Day, 4th of July. Pretty much every holiday is when you see these Sprint Enduros because there is no more weekends left over after all the bigger ones, the GNCCs, the National Enduros, and once they get their pick, I mean, there's only 52 weekends in a year. When you're trying to fit in 45 races, you're going to be missing some weekends. And so that's what sucks. And that's kind of what happened this year. What I would like to see is right now both of them are done in June or July. I don't have the calendar right in front of me, but both of them are done in June or July. I would like to see one of them run the second half of the year and one of them run the first half of the year. Because then it's not pick us or pick the other. It's do one, do the other. You got Sprint Enduro racing all year long. Every other series lasts from February to November. Right now, we got a bunch of sprints crammed in the first half of the year. So,
yeah, and you know, I thought about that too, and I don't know. I have no idea what the U.S. sprint schedule is, but going forward
same
for
as full gas.
Going forward for the full gas, you have Memorial Day weekend, and then you have a weekend in early June, and then you have the weekend after 4th of July. And I hate to say this, but I know I'm not going to be at the one Memorial Day weekend because I'll be in the infield at Charlotte Motor Speedway for the NASCAR race. But the two after that is in the middle of summer, and, you know, it's bad enough to get geared up and go race. And I'm sorry, but when you start and stop 10 times or 6 times in a day like at the U.S. Sprint, to me, that's going to be miserable sitting around in 100-degree weather in your gear, just sitting there waiting on another test to start. So I was thinking about this earlier. Why not start it in the fall and run through the wintertime? it's not like you're taking up a huge amount of daytime, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's other options, and yeah, I mean, even
I
sitting
think,
out there announcing gets hot.
yeah, I think that I don't think that that's a series that needs to run in the summer. And also, I got to thinking, I was like, well, it probably wouldn't make sense to start in the spring, have a huge break throughout the summer, and then pick back up in the fall. I don't think you would keep everybody's attention, so to say. But why not start in October, November, and run a winter series? Granted, they might end up being muddy and tearing up fields and whatnot, but maybe it's something to think about, and then run into the early part of, run through maybe into March, April.
Well, I mean, like I said, right now I think they're both done in June or July, and so you start if one was January to July and the other one was July to November, then you still have several months and you can get good races in with good weather. And I don't know, to me it's already the smallest form of racing. Like at the last one, Full Gas had 245 riders and US Sprint Enduro I think had 88. Something like that. It was under 100. I don't know what it was. So then you talk about, who's getting the bigger turnouts? Well, Bjorn Hamrick was right down the road with 800 people racing at his race, and he runs a local hare scramble. So when you're taking the already smallest segment of racing and off-road and trying to split it into, I feel like it's hurting each other. And like I said, if you split them in different sections of the year, then you can run both, and then everyone comes to both. I don't know. I'm obviously strong to one side of this just because of the way things went down, but I think there's a way that they can all work together to where everybody wins. But I don't know. As long as it is how it is, I'll be at Full Gases.
Yeah, I mean that's the ones I'm going to go to too, and solely to the 1 day format. I'm not going to give up a whole weekend to race a dirt bike for an hour and a half. So
Yeah.
I'll show up on Sunday as long as I can drive to it the morning of and just send it. So
Yeah, and it is a lot of fun. I think the turnouts at both can be a lot bigger, and Sprint Enduro as a whole can continue to grow. So don't get me wrong by saying it's the smallest one. It definitely has potential, and it definitely has room to grow, and I think a lot of people do like it, but it's being able to get more people to them and involved in that type of racing. So anyway, I hope the stuff that I said made sense in that one, didn't make anyone too mad, because I think it's awesome the amount of pros that are over there, and those are definitely the, like I said, more top heavy classes. So I don't know, maybe as it keeps going and things, as Koscheck keeps proving himself and with what he's doing over there with his crew, I mean, if you go to one, they're awesome. They're ran awesome and they're fun to ride. So who knows in the future. 2 more left, and then we will get out of here. This next one, I thought it was a pretty interesting question. Should you tag a photographer in a picture that you paid for? There was 2 options. Either, it went away. Optional if you bought it, or tag all the time. So, which way did you go on this one and why?
I think I said optional, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna buy the photo from a guy, and I don't know, I feel like I've never taken photos. I don't do it for a living, and I'm not trying to make money off of it. But in my opinion, if I buy the photo from you, then I should be free to do whatever I want with it. And I don't know I don't know, like, the proper way to do it. Like, are you supposed to, if you don't, like, if you screenshot the photo or take it like people do, and the watermark's on it, are you supposed to tag them if you do that, or you're not even supposed to do that and pay for the photo from the get-go. But I think my opinion, if you pay for a photo, then it's yours. You should be able to do whatever you want with it.
That's kind of a boat that I'm on too, which is weird with how many photos I've taken and how involved I am in that side of things.
And if you want to tag the person, tag them. Nothing wrong with it. And I think if I've bought some photos, and I'd have to go back and look, but I think even after I posted it, that I tagged the person that took it just because I was thankful they took the photo. But
yeah.
I think if you're paying them, then I don't know. I mean, it should be up to you.
And I think most of it, I think most people that post photos still end up tagging them whether they bought or not. Like, I bought photos from people in the past, and I still tag them in it. For me, I was actually thinking about this when I was push mowing my lawn because I've been putting it off for so long because I can't hardly walk, let alone push mower. But that's a whole nother story. I was thinking about it while I was out there suffering, and it's like you see people get very upset if you post their picture and not tag them. If you did not pay for that photo, you should absolutely not do that, in my opinion. I think that is very wrong. Don't use a photo without permission and then not even give credit. I had that happen to me at the first round of Full Gas, actually, from one of the riders' teams. They took a photo and posted it, didn't give me credit, said something about it, and then still refused to give me credit. So, like, that is very frustrating, and I get that. But, I don't know, kind of like you were talking about, if you buy a photo, that is now your property. And so whatever that photographer thought that photo was worth, you have now paid that, and now it is your photo to do as you please. Like, if someone sent me a photo and said, hey, I got this picture of you, post it, then I'm definitely tagging them. But I could see where someone would think that when they pay for a photo, it's like, hey, I don't have to tag them. Like, hired them, paid them, got the picture, now it's my picture. Obviously, like I said, most people are going to tag it just out of decent common courtesy, but especially like businesses. Like, if I'm a business paying someone to take a photo and you accept money for it, I get photo, that's now my photo. I'm posting that one without tagging it, I would think, if it was a business owner. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I feel like there's a standard that maybe not a standard, but like a what am I trying to say? Like a unspoken. I don't really know what I'm trying to say, to be honest.
Yeah, it kind of is an unspoken thing.
Between the photographers and the media guys, like, they all want their content to be used, but they don't want it to be used for free. And what's the other argument that even if you pay for the photo, that you should give them credit on social media?
Yeah, for the exposure. But I've also seen that comment made several times. It's like, so let's say a company has a rider, the rider posts the picture, company screenshots the rider's picture, they post it without the photographer's permission. They have now effectively stolen that photographer's work that photographer was letting the rider use. And so in a situation like that, I can understand why the photographer is upset. But I've seen it said by several people several times, like, shout outs and photo creds don't pay my bills. Well, if someone gave you money, they're contributing to your bills, they are paying your bills. So it's kind of like one of those can't have your cake and eat it too situations. Like, either money contributes to your bills and that's no longer your photo, or photo creds doesn't pay the bills and then you need to be tagged. But you get what I'm saying? Like, you're either asking for money or asking for photo creds. I guess, long story short, at the end of the day, this is even closer now at 48% to 52% would tag all the time, being the leader. You're never going to get on anyone's bad side for tagging them in the photo, and you're never going to get on anyone's bad side for giving them money and still tagging them in the photo. So, if you're on the fence, I guess tag your photographers. Also, support your local photographer.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think there's a. I feel like if you take pictures and I think probably what people would get more mad about, what I would, is people posting pictures with a watermark all over it and tagging you. Like, look, I just stole your work and I'm tagging you to show you I did it.
See, and I wonder
And
how
I've done that. Like I can't say nothing. I've done that myself, but
I think I've done it too. And I wonder how like Smug Mug photographers feel about that, because a lot of photographers put their stuff on Smug Mug to sell and then they'll put that watermark over it. I wonder how they feel about it, because if it was me and someone posted that and tagged me and then my logo is watermarked over it, that's fine. Like, hey, I mean, you really didn't have $4 to buy that picture, whatever. But at least my logo is still going out to all your followers so they can see my logo and find out where to get pictures of them at, and maybe they'll buy one. Or right. I could see, like you said, someone saying, you stole that and posted it. But right. That's why your watermark's on it. I don't know. That's a tough one. I've never been in that situation. I'll take pictures and just DM them to riders and say, hey, look at this cool picture. Like, I've never taken, like, asked for money or sold photos to anyone other than, like, businesses. But I don't know. When I get a cool picture, I just want my picture to get out there. And then that's when I'm like, hey, post this, but if you could, tag me. Because, I mean, that's part of the reason why the OTP page has gotten big, because whenever I send people stuff, they tag OTP in it. So, to me, that's cool for me.
You're not asking for money for it.
Yeah.
All you're asking for is credit for the photo.
Yeah. Like, there's a XC1 rider. I've been doing their stuff, and I'm about to start doing another XC2 rider, maybe 2 XC2 rider stuff. If they pay me, by all means, I don't care if you tag me in it or not. Like, if someone asks you and they're like, oh, that was cool, who made that? Then hopefully they'll be like, oh, T-Shep did it. But I don't expect a tag. If you paid me, like, okay.
Right.
Appreciate it. I trust me, that money in my pocket does a lot more for me than some blue letters you can click on the internet.
Especially now.
Yeah, especially now, because this is my livelihood.
Yeah, so like I said, I feel like that was definitely more personal to photographers that are doing it for a living and media people. To me, it's just, yeah, I don't know.
I would love to hear the opinion of other media guys on that.
I feel like it's a sore subject for photographers and media people in general, so I don't know that my opinion is the greatest.
No, it for sure is, and that's another thing too. It's like, it's such a this is already such a niche subject in the world of off-road. Then you got an even smaller group of people that are covering it, which that group is growing now. There's a lot of good content coming out from a lot of good people, which I think is cool. But it's still like a dog-eat-dog thing. It's not like, hey, can I trade you a photo this weekend for a photo next week? Like, I don't know. It gets weird. But, I mean, kudos to everybody else. They're finding a way to make money doing it, so that's cool.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot more content coming out of the races now than there have been in the past few years.
For sure. And a lot more quality content, too.
For sure, yeah.
But just everyone work together, man. My only goal is bring more money to riders that are breaking necks, breaking arms, breaking pelvises to entertain us and make a living. So, however we can do that, let's do it. Last question here, and this is also one that we differ on, and this one I thought it was kind of funny and kind of interesting. If you were to swap the top riders, be it WXC, XC1, XC2, whatever, and you swap the days that they were racing, would pro quad riders finish higher up in the overall on a bike than pro bike riders finishing higher up overall in the quads? You, beyond a shadow of a doubt, said quad riders on bikes. Why are you so firm on that?
Because how many of the quad riders, one, have a history of riding dirt bikes and racing dirt bikes, one, And two, how many of them have a dirt bike that they practice on outside of riding their four-wheelers? Okay? How many dirt bike guys ride four-wheelers? None. There's not a single XC1 guy, XC2 guy, XC3 guy, any A-class rider that's got a race four-wheeler, race quad, that they just go out and practice and train on. And, you know, I'm like any other dirt bike guy that, you know, the quad guy still riding around with the training wheels on, blah, blah, blah. Talk shit on them all the time. But the truth is, those guys ride dirt bikes too. So I don't know who, and I don't know which guys do have dirt bikes that ride, but I'm just saying there'd be a lot of upset people if we did that.
So when you say it like that, I can understand where you were coming from.
And like Walker Fowler, from my understanding, I didn't know this, but evidently he was a top youth bike rider, and could have, from my understanding, could have raced professionally on a dirt bike. Freaking Barry Hawk is the only rider in the history of GNCCs to win a ATV and a bike championship, and he came from ATVs to dirt bikes. And the only other person that I know of that's gone from a dirt bike to a four-wheeler was David Knight, and he did one race on it and got his ass kicked. So, all the people that voted the bike guys to an ATV side are just ignorant and think that they just, I don't know, just because four-wheelers are gay. Well, I agree that they are, but if you flipped it, I'm just saying that they would do better.
I wouldn't go that far because I am one of those ignorant fools that voted bike riders on quads. Hunter Hart. Hunter Hart is another notable name that is now winning overall races, and I think he won an XC2 title on a quad, but he used to race like Open B, so he would race quads on Saturday and then the 3-hour on Sunday, which I thought was absolutely insane. And then when he moved into XC2, and he kind of gave the bike thing up to focus on quads. Chase Landers, his brother is a pro quad guy, and now he's like a top amateur bike guy in 250A on the Magna 1 team. He rode quads as a kid and now rides dirt bikes, so they kind of swap back and forth. But I don't know, man. I just think that the aggression of the dirt bikes, and I don't know, I feel like the learning curve on a dirt bike is much higher than the learning curve on a quad. Like a quad, and once again, this could be out of a place of complete ignorance, although I will say I'm a pretty accomplished quad racer. Race a quad at Camp Coker. What's up? Anyway.
Yeah, how'd that go?
I coulda, woulda, shoulda pulled the whole shot until I realized I was about to pull the whole shot and didn't know what I was doing and got scared. So I got on the brakes and let everyone by me. And then I ended up getting stuck like 87 times in the center of the axles, like trying to go through ruts.
So it sounds like you, from a dirt bike to a quad, struggled pretty bad.
I think with a twist throttle, I would have been dialed. I got thumb pump.
Speaking of, I saw not at yesterday's Full Gas, but the one at GTR. Saw a guy on a Honda that had a thumb throttle dirt bike, and I was like, "Ooh."
I know a couple of people. I've seen some. I think I might know who you're talking about. But I mean, you look at what's his nuts? Was it Sheehan? One of those dudes at like the X Games had to compete with a thumb throttle because his wrist is fused together and he can't turn a regular throttle.
Yeah, and then you look at it the other way. I think Borch and a lot of ATV guys ride with twist throttles.
Yeah, I think Hunter Hart does. I think Johnny does. I'm not sure. But so what I think, I don't know. It seems to me like you can understand how a quad works better than you can understand how a dirt bike works. Like, I think I would I think right now I could probably go probably faster in a cross test on a 4-wheeler than I could a dirt bike.
Yeah, but we're talking about a GNCC. It's not a cross test sprint enduro.
Yeah, but I mean, we're talking about a GNCC, so a Bobcat has driven through the trail. I mean, I don't know.
Would you climb Big Buck Hill on a 4-wheeler?
Absolutely not, dude. I wouldn't do any of that stuff on a 4-wheeler.
Alright then, that's what it takes to go fast on a 4-wheeler.
I wouldn't even consider it, dude.
And I bet you every regnet that races, or that was rude, but every person that races 4-wheelers that climbs that hill on a 4-wheeler would do it on a dirt bike.
That could be true. But that's only one round. Well, I guess 2 rounds of every year. I don't know. It would be interesting.
I agree. I do think it would be interesting. I think there would be a lot of hurt feelings on the bike side.
I don't know, man. Do they get any practice or no?
I mean, you're going to have to give the bike guys practice on the 4-wheelers because the 4-wheeler guys already practice on dirt bikes.
I don't know any 4-wheeler guys that just practice on dirt bikes. I think I've seen a couple of the 4-wheeler guys with like a TTR 225 or something.
Dude, no way. All those guys have dirt bikes.
Maybe I'm just oblivious to it then.
Who's the dude that lives in Waxhaw that rides XC1?
Oh, someone actually messaged me about him. I think it's John Glotta, isn't it?
Yep. He rides a dirt bike. I don't know how to spell his name, so I can't find him.
Glauda.
Yeah, let's see.
Speaking
February 16th, he's got a 450, a YZ 450 FX.
Who's that?
John Galata.
Oh
shit! Look, here's him jumping a big ass double at the sand pits.
So did you know that Thad Duvall's dad, Chad Duvall, is an ATV OG?
Mm-hmm.
See?
Yeah,
so you think about a situation like that? You mean to tell me that Jordan Ashburn with a twist throttle isn't going to be nasty on a 4-wheeler?
I don't think so.
I think so.
I think, I hate to say this, but I bet you Johnny Gallagher beats him.
No. I don't know. It's one of those things I guess we'll never find out. I think it'd be cool to find out, though.
It would be interesting. And like I said, the only 2 people that I know that have ever done it is Barry Hawk and David Knight. Barry Hawk came from 4-wheelers to dirt bikes and won a championship, and David Knight did one race in 4-wheelers and got his ass kicked.
Yeah, but you can't use that as comparison, man. Everyone's different. Zach Osborne won the outdoor title, raced the GNCC the very next year, and got 16th. Caleb Russell is the greatest of all time, went and raced moto, and we saw how that went. I mean, you can't compare individual things like that. Barry 8-time is a G.
Well, I'm just saying.
Who would have thought that this would be the most heated conversation of all of these?
I mean, I just think you're wrong. Let's see.
Thanks for being so poetic with it.
What was David Knight's second title? 08? Do you know, was you following dirt bikes back then?
Nope.
It was definitely 08.
You talked me into it.
And I talked you into doing what?
Believing that it's 08.
It is. There he is. David Knight. He got 22nd in XC1. Johnny Gallagher beat him. He got 15th.
I don't know what your deal is, dude.
He did do all the laps though, so he didn't get lapped.
I don't know. That would be interesting. We just need to have a silly race, and all the WXC girls race XC1, and all the XC1 guys are racing on Saturday on the quads.
I thought you were gonna say all the XC1 guys race WXC.
No, they're racing quads. They'll probably be sore.
that's legal these days. I guarantee.
And then then that can happen. And then the XC1 quad guys can race WXC bikes the next morning because the bike guys are gonna be faster on quads. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I will say the closest comparison that we've had. Well, no, it's not a comparison at all. Full Gas had an ATV sprint enduro one time. No, we did it twice. But the times between the top quads and the top bikes were way closer than I ever thought they would, and the quads actually won some of them.
On the cross test or the enduro test?
They were close on both, but I think one cross test. Because, you could slide a four-wheeler through a corner.
Yeah, I would think that... I definitely think that a four-wheeler is faster on the cross test.
Yeah, because you're also putting twice as much power to the ground and have twice as much braking force.
No. You're not putting twice as much power to the ground.
You know what I mean.
Actually, I would think you're putting less power to the ground.
I didn't mean, like, horsepower-wise, probably because it's a heavier machine, but I meant you got two big old wide tires that are digging versus one skinny dirt bike tire.
They're digging.
Anyway, man, this is pretty cool. Maybe we don't do 9 next time, but I think the idea is cool.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, that's a great idea. I don't know, man. I think we need to set it up somehow. Let's get once Walker retires, let's get him and Caleb to swap places. Be like a life swap type deal.
Yeah, just right now. We gotta find some way to talk him into it.
And Phoenix Honda, like it wasn't off road, but it was motocross. Did a thing on this down at Club MX. It's on YouTube.
See, I've seen all sorts of ATV versus MX stuff, but I've never seen like MX guy on ATV versus ATV guy on MX stuff.
They had Joel Hectrick on a dirt bike and had I don't know, one of the moto guys on
KP.
It might have been KP or it might have been who's the mechanic?
I know who you're talking about.
He raced
Harrison?
XC3. Yes.
Mitchell Harrison?
No, is that right?
I don't know.
Heath Harrison.
Heath Harrison, that's what it is. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's
right
what
on
it
the tip
was.
of my tongue.
Yeah. And let's see. Yeah. I don't know. But they switched, and it was not pretty.
Gotcha. Well, nevertheless, interesting topics to talk about and think about, and I wonder what everyone else's opinions. Well, I guess we have their poll results, but yeah, no, I thought.
What was the majority on that one?
Definitely bike guys on quads, but once again, could be biased based on the page.
Yeah, well,
70% bike riders on quads, 30% quad riders on bikes.
Well, go through there and pick one from each side. Pick a quad guy and pick a bike guy. DM them and let's set it up at a local race and see what happens.
There's actually some big name pros on both sides that voted.
I would love to know who that is. Was there any? I know you don't want to say names, but was there any bike guys that voted that the quad guys would be faster, and are there any quad guys that voted that the bike guys would be faster? Did they all vote per side?
I've counted multiple XC1, even more XC1 guys, and also official track bosses, potentially, that have voted quad riders on bikes.
XC1 bike guys voted for the quad guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like several.
So
there's another one.
so the pro guys agree with me.
Some of them.
Are there any on the other side?
I'm looking through it right now. So, one person that I talked about that has done both has voted bike riders on quads.
Bike riders on quads. Person that you talked about.
Yeah, that has raced quads and bikes.
Barry Hawk?
No, and I'm not going to give you the name if you guess it.
Oh,
that defeats the purpose of the anonymity.
But they voted bike riders on quads?
Yes.
Okay, so you got one versus how many?
No, there's XC1 guys on this list too. XC2 guys, WXC. It's kind of split, but there are more XC1 guys on the other side than I thought there would be.
Interesting.
But
like I said, DM them, let's make it happen.
Yeah. That would be wild. I would love to see it. But, like, dude, them guys' contracts, no one's ever going to be able to do it.
Wait till they retire.
Yep. Yeah, man. Appreciate you taking so much time out. I think you've missed all of your basketball game probably at this point, so sorry about that.
No, I'm watching it on my computer. Well, I'm watching the score.
This went way longer than I expected.
Yeah, I guess we're both good at talking.
Well, like I said, man, I really appreciate your time. It's cool seeing you out this weekend racing. You going to Camp Coker this weekend?
I am. Are you going to be there?
Yeah, I'm debating on going Friday or Saturday, but the last few races I've showed up on Sunday, and Camp Coker's one you just need to experience. It's a fun one.
Yeah. Depending on what Steven does, I'm in the same boat. Probably going to be going down Saturday morning early.
Sweet. I'll have a cold beer and some fishing poles.
I don't think I'm worried about you supplying my cold beer.
All right, fine. I'm drinking your cold beer and my fishing pole.
Just catch me a fish.
All right, man. Well, like I said, thanks again for your time. Always good to have you on. This was show 100. That was crazy.
Interesting.
We got to do something cool. Now that we're making the transition, 100 shows, we got to do something cool.
Yeah, I think we're due for another live drunk round table. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's where the intro came from.
If we can get all the lovebirds away from their girlfriends.
Yeah. We need to assemble the boys.
Yeah. That's easier said than done these days.
All right. Well, thanks again, man. We'll see you this weekend at Camp Coker. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Don't forget, subscribe wherever you're listening to this at. And be a friend, tell a friend. If you like these shows, send it to them. Let them know that OTP exists, because we're about to exist on a much bigger scale. I'm Tyler Shepardson. This was Thomas Caldwell. Thanks again, man. We'll talk to you.
Deuces.